So, back when I used to drive this little train in the summers, the Y was out there. So this was a straight shot all the way in. There was none of the switching here over the bridge. The main line just went in, and then we would back it all the way out and around and turn it out there. And so they moved it. But, I don't know, I suppose it's a lost art. And I'm not saying I know how to do it better. I just, you know, this was one of the main derailment points right here. The gauge is too narrow. And so as the train would come down through, one of those front wheels would crawl right up and head off who knows where, and then of course the rear ones would stay on. And I think it might have something to do with, you can see they ground it here, but it was climbing up on these bolts, and then of course that would shove it over. Yeah, it's a lot different now that the big train doesn't run. You know, you got all these things that would have been a no-no. Joints that don't sit on ties. I think they torched out big sections of the track from where they used to be over there, and then dropped them on a flatbed, drove the flatbed around over to here, lifted them off and put them down. But this area is smaller, so the curves are a little tighter, which is fine. The train can handle it. It's just they didn't rebend them, so you get stuff like that. So not only is it not on a tie, but you know, the plates are cracked and broken. It's they needed to put a bender on the rails and just sharpen up the curve, you know, bend the end of these two and this one, and this one used to derail there all the time. Greasing the tracks stopped that, at least temporarily. You know, but like right here, it's the gauge is so narrow at that little point, it was actually ripping the flanges off the wheels, because you know, as they go through, they get flexed, and so it was breaking the flanges off the car wheels. The train wheels are tough enough; they just would push through. The train would lift slightly. It used to be they had some very talented volunteers that could do this. Then somebody in their infinite wisdom, I think, at the state level, shut them down for letting volunteers work on the stuff for insurance stuff. And so now we had to use, I don't work here anymore, but you know, I still love the place. They had to use somebody who was insured. Okay, bud. You know, and so we had to use somebody with some massive liability insurance to do the work rather than the volunteers. I don't really understand, you know, I don't know why, I don't know the whole story, I don't know if there was a lawsuit at the state level or federal level or something, but, you know, the guys that put the track in are, you know, they're guys that do dirt work. And this isn't like snapping together HO track. It is clear to me, however, that the big Baldwin steamer will never again be run. That's, look at that. I'm amazed it didn't climb that. But it's for certain I don't think the Baldwin steamer is going to run ever again. There was a lot of debate as to whether you could push the Baldwin through here. You know, all of her drive wheels are flangeless. So, you know, you might have wheels hanging 90% out into the open air, but you probably make the corner, because just the front and the rear, and the front bogie, and I want to say the rear drive wheel, or maybe it's not even that, maybe it's under the tender. And all three of the driving flanges are, sorry, all three of the driving wheels are in fact flangeless, but there's no way you're taking her across rails that have their joints spanning, you know, not on the ties. Not without tamping better. And this section here is down, and you know, they just put it back together and used excavators to try to tweak it more. What else were they gonna do, right? They didn't have the stuff. They didn't have the equipment. But I think they'll get some volunteer advisors this fall, next spring. Train is so beloved here, and there's a tremendous commitment from the top to keep the train running, even if it all is the little one. So I know they'll get it. I know they'll get it. I just have, you know, they were down to 2 derailments a day some days, and they just had to stop it in the end. But I'm sure they'll get it eventually. They'll have to. Everybody loves the train.